Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
A very warm welcome in the first module of week 8 of the course Roadmap for Patent Creation, titled Demonstration, Research and Project Planning. Now here already now we are pretty well aware about what is patent, what are the categories that different types of patent are there, how to file a patent, what are the different types of forms or fees which are available on site. Almost now you are aware about everything related to patent. Now we have seen the various tools also, that patentability tool, IP identification tool. Then we have seen that how you can apply that tool to your research or a project, right? So then what is the international patent classification is there, all these things now we are aware about that. Now you are in a stage like now you are planning the research or a project in such a way that you can get maximum benefit out of that in the form of a more IP creation. So now your target is that you are planning your research or your project in such a way that you can get a maximum IP, so that you can create a wealth through your project. Now for that you have to do a planning in advance, and you have to fix the timelines, that where exactly there is a possibility of a generation of a potential IP. Now you know how to identify potential IP, you have that tool in your hand now, right? You have already done now the technology trend analysis, you probably have done the prior art search, right? And you have now aware about, okay, this is the state of art and this is my project, and now I am doing this project with this objective, my lab notebook is ready, everything is ready now. Okay, so here we start. If we see the organization, that if organization is there, how exactly it works out. Okay, so here you can see that when we are talking about any organizational capital, here there can be two forms are there, that is a intellectual capital is there and there is a financial capital, right? Any organization you take, right? Instead of organization, now you can just consider yourself here as an individual also. You can apply it to individual, you can apply it to your lab, you can apply it to your institute, you can apply it to your organization. Wherever you are doing research, you can apply this, whatever the model is there, or this complete research planning, right? So two parts are there, that is a intellectual capital and a financial capital. In the first week we have seen what is the intellectual capital is there, and we have seen that human capital, structural capital and relational capital, along with affective capital, cognitive capital and cognitive capital, all these 6 capital together forms a innovation capital. Now this innovation capital is important to create that particular invention or innovation. So how you are using this for a research planning? So whenever you are starting your project, you just check that all these capitals, like human capital, structural capital and the relational capital, these are what we can say that is perfectly in the place, right? The inventors who are working in that project, then the whatever the infrastructure which is required for your research, that thing, and then your vendors, whatever are there, or any collaborator is there, that collaborators. If you are already thinking about the further manufacturing and all kind of thing, all these things you have already placed, you know that how to use that assignee mapping for any collaborative activity, or how to use that inventor mapping for any collaborations if you want to do, right? And you have done all that what we can say the background search, and you are ready with that human capital, relational capital and structural capital. You probably have thought of, okay, I am working on this project, if I face any issues, then who might be a right person to whom I can contact and I can resolve that issues. So you will just plan it in this way, that okay, you are ready with all these things. The other side, whatever you are seeing on the screen, it is like the financial capital side you are saying. What is included there? It shows that there is a working capital, then there are fixed assets, and then there is a intangible assets, right. Now, this is the what we can say, this is the outcome of your activity. It will come, that is that intangible assets will be created after you complete the research project, right. You will create some IP, that IP may act as asset, and that will be your intangible assets. Fixed assets and working capital, that is already the part in your what we can say organization, that financial capital, it will be there already in the place, right. Now, moving further, this side means you can see that there are two sides are there. One is like a investment, and next is like a financial gain, right. When you are doing this IP activity, the first side, that is a investment side is there, and that investment side is giving, you are investing money there, that is you are putting your what we can say fortune there, and financial gain is there, that is on another side, and there you are what we can say there, you are generating the wealth. Okay. So, these are the two parts you are seeing in the screen. One is like a investment side, and other is a financial side. So, here we can see that there are two parts, and now we can see the innovation process, right. Now, this innovation process, it starts with we will just concentrate on that, how that innovation occur. We have seen that innovation process is starting with the ideation, right. Now, in one of the module, we have seen that how to develop your own IP system and how to assess that, right. In that, we have noticed that there are total 5 stages and total 15 major processes when we are talking about IP management. Now, you are organizing here your R&D management also, and now you are managing innovation, and then you are managing IP. So, all these 3, although we say that these are the 3 different what we can say the processes, but these are pretty well overlapping, right. Innovation process and IP management process, both are overlapping. So, you have to take care of everything, and you have to complete that what we can say the complete process. We have to holistically, you have to look to that complete process. Now, your intellectual capital is ready, your financial whatever the investment related to your projects are ready. You have in the stage that is a ideation stage, right, and now you have started your project. Now, we have already seen that when you start the project, it may be a 3-year project, it may be a 5-year project. Before starting that project, you have to just decide on the timeline. That timeline can be starting from 0 up to say 3 years or a 4 years or a 5 years, whatever it may be. It will start with a ideation stage. Now, this ideation stage, you will use effectively the various resources by which you can generate ideas. Now, you have done the prior art search. Now, you are well aware about the state of the art. You have selected the project, your objectives are clear, and you have selected that particular focus topics, and you are starting, that is at point 0. Now, your expectation is that at the end of 4th year or a 5th year, that particular X output should be there. That is your time frame, right. Now, when your time frame is decided, now what exactly you have to do is that you obviously taking care that you are following that lab notebook and all other whatever things we have discussed earlier, that you will follow, right. Now, the process when you are starting, that is a pre-IP stage, when you are starting, you are working on your ideas, you are what we can say the research will go on, and you have to decide, okay, probably 6th month or maybe at the end of 8th month, there is a probability of something important maybe what we can say achieved. So, you just determine that, okay, you just plan in that way, okay, if I go in this way, and we have seen that in the lab notebook you are planning, you have that weekly planning or you are using that monthly planning, you are using that thing, right. So, there also you are maintaining that thing, okay, at the end of this month I should finish off this thing, at the end of this month I am going to finish that thing, right. You are starting from idea, and then you are started the incubation, that is you are just completing the processes which are related to your project, right. Now, probability is that, okay, 6th month or 8th month there is a probability of generation of some potential IP. If that possibility is there, in the timeline only you just write down, okay, 6th month or 8th month potential IP, right. If that potential IP is there, you should ready with, okay, what is that invention disclosure I am going to give. If your organization is having that invention disclosure facility properly, what we can say, or properly it is in place, then you can use that facility and you can do the that you can follow that path, right, online invention disclosure, or maybe if they are using manual pathway, you just follow that route and you complete the invention disclosure. Because in some organization, after invention disclosure, there are again the various processes are there, like different review processes are there. After that review processes, decisions will be taken and then it will be filed. So you have to anticipate that you are doing the invention disclosure. After that, the possibility is that almost 3 months, 4 months will give till the filing of that patent. Priority is important. So you have to plan that when you are going to give the invention disclosure. So that timing is very important for you. And you are deciding, you are anticipating that further timing of review or further timing of drafting that particular provisional patent or complete specification, whatever you are opting, you have to anticipate that time and you have to decide on the invention disclosure. Now, suppose you are in the organization or you are individual or you are MSME working and you do not have any system for invention disclosure, then what exactly you will do? You yourself have to do this activity, and suppose you yourself are going to file that provisional, then in that case you have your lab notebook, you can just write down the details about that invention in a point wise way. That is, what is that abstract probably, what is that problem I'm solving, then what is that background, that particular thing, that then you will write down, okay, what is the solution I have received for that, solving that whatever the problem is there. So at least you will be aware about that background thing, then you will aware about what are the object of that invention, that is under for what are the different objectives I am solving, and then you are giving that, okay, this is my output which is coming, right. So the result is there and you are aware about that, what is the result. In between, you know that the technical details, the details about whatever the techniques you have used or any instrument you have used, all these things you have to give, right. That diagrams and all drawings, whatever are there, you are giving that details, right. So it is better that in invention disclosure you can, if you are giving it in the organization, if it is going through the review process and all that thing, make sure that you are very precise in writing. You just focus on the invention, because generally if invention is there, you should able to describe in maximum 4 or 5 lines, right, or a half page you can say. You should be so precise in that to explain that invention, right, that problem it is solved, and then you can give the details about that whatever the invention is there. You can substantiate your whatever that claim is there, okay, this problem is solved. That 4-5 lines whatever you are writing, that is very important. You should write it very crisp, and then you can just elaborate on that thing, that okay, background 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is suppose that background, you just give that references, and then you can just see that okay, this is how I have solved, whatever the techniques you have used, finish. This is the drawing, finish. If you can be that much what we can say focused or crisp in writing your invention disclosure, that will be better, right. So this is what the invention disclosure is there, and then you have to take further if decision about the that after review process, it may be filed. If you yourself are there, you can file the provisional patent application, you know which are the forms, which how much fee you have to give, and you can file the provisional patent. So this is about what the pre-IP stage is there. Now you have filed, you have identified that potential IP, and you have now filed that provisional patent. That is your what we can say the idle patent is there, idle IP is there. You are not still using it, it is there. It may be in provisional form, it may be in a complete form, it is not in a granted stage. But definitely you have thought now about a commercialization. You should decide that what will be the future of that IP, whatever you are generating, right. What exactly you are doing with it. Now there is one module we have dedicated on commercialization of IP, right. It is in this week only, and you can just see what are the different ways by which you can commercialize that IP, right. There are various ways, you can just opt any of the pathway for your commercialization of IP, but you have to thought through before you are starting the project. You have to thought through about that thing, right. So once you reach up to that level, that what is that commercialization related decisions you are taking, so probability is that you can have that potential IP then idle IP and commercialized IP. If your project is going on, then in that 5 years you have a timelines. Okay, first patent is filed at the end of 6 months or 8 months. Next patent, it is say filed in the 20th month or something like that. Then okay, then at the end of 3rd year I am filing the next patent. Suppose in one project your object is okay 3 patents, I probably get that 3 potential IPs I am now anticipating, and you are filing that. So there is a possibility that at the end of third year you may have that the first patent which is filed, it is already in the commercialization stage. The second patent you have filed, it may be idle as it is now just filed, and you have that one potential IP because you are just filing that, you are thinking about filing of that patent. So maybe that might be, and that will be the good situation in the 3 years you are with this stage, that is in one project you have now in your hand 3 patents and you are already started the commercialization of a first patent. Obviously second and third will be dependent on that. It will be very ideal situation, and it happen means this is not a very ideal situation. If MSMEs, especially the observation is that MSMEs are working on the product that any particular problem for years together, 10 years, 15 years they are working on that. And once you start patent filing activity, I have seen that after that first filing there are a series of patents that MSMEs file, right, and it comes as a cycle that okay, first patent is filed, within a year definitely you will file the another patent, and that is a complete specification. It is like a fully done that particular thing, and that thing happens, and therefore you can have that portfolio that is having a three IPs which are in 3 stages. One is already in commercialization, one is just filed, that is idle IP, and one is a potential IP. It is expected that when you are doing a research also in research organizations or in a academic institute, when we are doing the research, it is possible that we are doing research for 3 years, 5 years. The thing is that first year there is a probability of getting that patent, that obviously patent is a 0 because you are just starting that thing. First 2 years is like you are working on the project. Probability that when you are doing a PhD or when you are doing working in any research organization, at the end of through 2.5 years there is a possibility, definitely if you are working on that project, you have done the thorough prior art search, then definitely at the end of 2.5 years you can just think of a okay, now I can think of filing a patent. That stage generally comes, and then if you are anticipating that within 12 months you are completing that particular thing, obviously you can think of filing the provisional patent, right. So this is how the thing will work. You will plan it in this way. So now what the thing will happen, that once you have that IP, you have, if you are successfully started the commercialization is not necessary that immediately you are getting the market and you are marketing your product. This will never happen. Invention, whenever it will come, that is patent, whenever it is coming, from patent to ready to market product, there is a gap, but at least if what is a commercialization, at least you have started some activity in that direction, then that is well and good. Okay. Now you can see that there is a pre-IP stage, then there is that integrated IP portfolio you are generating, and then there is that intellectual property you are generating, that 3 kinds of IPs you are generating, and the post-IP stage is there, that is where you are actually commercializing your IP. Now when we think of all this thing, right, that intellectual capital is there, innovation process cycle is there, and that assets whatever are there, working capital is there, or that financial, that investments are there. Obviously this complete stage you can just observe in this on the screen, that you are moving from that one side, that is the investment side, towards a financial gain side. That movement is there, right. Now you can see this movement, that is a ideation, then that invention disclosure, these are towards the investment. But once you start moving towards that commercialization, you are moving from investment side towards a financial gain side, and that is expected when we are doing a research. You should, means if it is a obviously applied research, not in a fundamental research, but if it is applied research, definitely that movement from investment side to a financial gain side, it is expected that you should move in that. And so you can see on the screen also that move from that potential IP, and that first part is in the that side, that is investment, and you can see the post IP stage towards a financial gain, that is there the integrated IP portfolio is now ready, And what is that integrated IP? Integrated IP is like a one of the term which is commonly used in IP management, that not only patent, we are now just dealing with a patent, so we are talking about patent, but there is a possibility that along with patent there may be industrial design, there may be some other kind of IP, right, and that also we have to consider. Mainly the organization, they think in that way. If you are a research student, you can think of a mainly patent, and then maybe you can think of a industrial design. That is a there is a possibility of that industrial design also. If you are a mechanical engineer, you are creating some machine, then definitely there is a possibility of a industrial design. So that two or more forms of IP, if you consider and you are building up the what we can say the portfolio, then you can say that it is a integrated IP portfolio. That term will be very what we can say, it is a very fit for the organization. It may not be fit for a small research project, or right, but you should think of a different type of IPs along with a patent. Okay. So this is what the innovation process, that at the same time you are running the IP management, but you definitely need a help, that you have to strategize that thing, and you need a help. So you need a help of whom? You need a help of a IP department and obviously a legal department. So if you are in an organization, you get this both supports, right. So generally in the organization, how things work, the IP department is there, they are helping you in the prior art search, they will give you that ready-made report of prior art, and then you can start your research, right. That is the case. The legal, what we can say, legal department is there. Why this is very important, legal department? If you are in a if your invention is related to pharma, if invention is related to a food industry, you have to follow certain rules, regulations, that FDA approvals are required. So obviously their legal department is very important in that case, right. And the other important thing is that we can say that when we say IP management, right, you have to just plan that activity. Maybe when you are an academic institute, or if you are a MSME, obviously at that stage also, if you want to commercialize that thing, you have to strategize your activity, right. And when we say IP strategy, it is not standalone, it is dependent on technology strategy, and then obviously what we can say, that how you are exactly working that invention, innovation, whatever strategy you are applying, right. So that strategic decisions are important, and IP strategy is not standalone. Organizations definitely follow that thing. Their business strategy determines their technology strategy, IP strategy, innovation strategy, R&D strategy. All these strategies are that are determined by the business strategy. That objective is very clear, business objective is very clear. Accordingly, all things are what we can say managed, right. That strategies are determined. So in all, what the thing is happening is that here you can see here that with this, what we can say, you can see that role of all these what we can say IP department, that legal department is there, and how that different strategies are there, how that intellectual capital is important, that assets are there, and how the process is moving from that what we can say that invention stage to invention disclosure to actually IP commercialization, moving from that investment side towards a financial gain, right. So that movement you can see, but all these things you have to what we can say plan in advance, what is at what time, what will be there, and that planning if you do, right, if you plan accordingly, if you consider all these factors whatever are there just now we have seen, and if you plan your project in advance, then obviously that total research in all, IP generation, and obviously the commercialization, all things will be in place, right. And it will be what we can say, your activities will be parallelly, you can just do all these activities at a research, that IP generation, then commercialization, and that will be, I guess, more beneficial for your research activity. So you can use this best for your research planning. Whatever you are now doing that research, you can just do a small activity, and here I will suggest what exactly you have to do. We have already that activity sheet with you, your research project is ready, prior art search whatever you are doing, that you have done already with using the databases. Now you just decide on that all capitals which are involved, considering the commercialization point of view now, considering the collaboration point of view, considering any joint venture if you are thinking, just write down all these things, right? Then you just think of a budget, whatever is there involved, right, for that particular research. If you are a any chemistry related, if your work is there, probably you require very costly chemicals, then you just decide on that investment related to that also. And then you just check out in your organization that whether that invention disclosure facility is there. If it is not, you just plan that activity on your own. You just check whether to whom whose help you will take for the filing of a complete specification. That also you can plan now, right? And write down that timeline for your research, what will be the potential IP generation stage, right? All this thing you can plan. You can just in one page only you can write down that timeline, and maybe that will help you to plan your research, to do your research successfully. So with this, what I can suggest that you just watch this video.
Hello, my name is Osman Ahmed, and I'm speaking from Richland, Washington, which happens to be in the Pacific Northwest of the USA and about 3.5 hour drive from Seattle on the east side, and from Portland, Oregon, another 3.5 hours on the northeast side. So I just wanted to give you a reference as where I am located, because Richland, Washington is a very, very small place. Now I work here at Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. This is one of the 17 labs that the government of the USA through Department of Energy actually owns and operates. I'm very thankful to you, first of all, for your time to listen to my innovation journey, especially focusing on patenting. And I'm equally thankful to Professor Gargett for inviting me and giving me a chance to share my story with all of you. Later, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me through Professor Gargett, and I'll be happy to have any discussions or dialogue with you. So I'm going to actually look at my 30 years of journey, especially with Siemens Corporation, where I worked and actually developed quite a few. I'm very humbled to say that number of patents worldwide, maybe 150 or so, and in the USA about 42 awarded patents and 20 pending. So I'm going to actually share with you my journey, and I'm going to reflect on the fact what drove me to do patenting, what value actually drove me from my perspective to do patenting. So initially, when I was a young engineer, I didn't have much idea about patenting and innovation, but once I learned and I started developing some patents, the basic focus was novelty for our products and solutions, and the company awarded us with some incremental reward, perhaps $1,000 or so. No licensing revenue, by the way, sharing with the employees, but a nice plaque on the wall. So that was the main sort of driver initially, to see if I can get some plaques on the wall. I can talk to my mom and dad and my wife and my community. This was great. And, of course, $1,000 doesn't hurt you. But as I moved along my career, I found that I can actually create another level of importance within the corporation, and that is basically to focus on creating a strategic value on innovation or strategic value of innovation by creating patents. Now here, the thought process is that we'll be looking into some emerging technology and we'll be developing some concepts that are novel, that are easy to explain to a layman. As you know, that's a requirement from the patent office, but also creating a nice portfolio of such patents for future offensive mechanism or defensive mechanism, but most importantly perhaps to create a chance for licensing revenue in the future. So when that strategic value became clear to me, I was driven to create that value because I was in that position, a higher position in the company, to drive not only my patent portfolio, but also the patent portfolio of our research and innovation organization, and so on and so forth. One thing is that a company like Siemens, a multinational global company whose DNA happens to be innovation, number of patents actually play a key role, or also as a key performance indicator to evaluate or value the company's intellectual asset. And in that way, the Wall Street, the financial market actually gives a lot of weight in saying, yeah, Siemens or any other company is a great company, and here comes so many patents from this company. So the future is secured. If you work with this company, if you invest in this company's future, the innovation future is secure. So that's a strategic value that drove me in my sort of later stage of my career with Siemens. The third one is perhaps the most important and not very direct or transparent, and that is the intrinsic value of patent for an inventor, and that is essentially passion for exploring a novelty, passion for exploring or discovery new features or brand new concepts essentially. So a company really becomes a truly sustainable or sustained innovation company over the years if they can stimulate that passion of inventor. How to cultivate an organization, how to create an open culture, an open environment, so people can freely express their ideas. They are not really criticized for really thinking about moonshots. So if you can really if you can actually cultivate that culture of innovation, and if you see the results becomes or one of the results becomes actually patents, so that sort of value, the intrinsic value, perhaps becomes most important. And in my case, it drove me actually throughout my career and still driving me today. I just want to end my talk by sharing one little incident that I know. Sir Edmund Hillary, the famous explorer, the Kiwi from New Zealand, we call them Kiwis, but he came to New York before he passed away, and he was asked what actually drives his seeking of exploration of new ground in the world. And without any hesitation, he said, this is essentially driven by my passion and to have fun. Because when you discover a new path, when you discover a new value in the world, and while you do that, the process of getting to your destination, which is not always for sure obtainable, that becomes really truly a remarkable fun. So I hope I was able to share my experience And just to summarize, the three values that I saw in my professional career, and by the way, I'm still driven by those things. A little bit of financial award, yes. Recognition, yes. Strategic value, but perhaps most important happens to be this intrinsic value of passion. Thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.
With this, we come to the end of this module. See you in the next session. Thank you.